What's up YouTube? I'm here to do my predictions for UFC Fight Night Hunt versus Nelson. Start from the bottom. The first fight is Maxwell Blanco versus Dan Hooker. And this one's tough just because I think Blanco's probably the better fighter, but his problem is, he uses too much energy way too early and he gasses out after like 2 minutes of fighting. And Dan Hooker's never been knocked out. He's got a couple submission losses, but he's a pretty tough guy. I mean, I've seen some of his fights on YouTube. He's got a good chin. I just think Blanco's gonna gas himself out and Dan's gonna either win a decision or a submission. This one, I'm gonna pick Dan Hooker by either second round submission or, decision. Next we got Kazuki Tokudome versus Johnny Chase. And Johnny Chase is making his UFC debut. He's pretty much a striker. He doesn't have the greatest grappling. And Tokudome, I think, should win this one pretty easily as long as he uses his judo and takes it to the ground. And the thing is, you never know. Tokudome likes to strike with guys that he probably could beat if he just tried to grapple. So, this fight really depends entirely on Tokudome if he wants to grapple or not. And I'm going to hope that he does, so I'm going to pick Tokudome by decision or third round submission. Next we got Michinori Tanaka versus Kyung Ho Kang. And, Kang, he hasn't really shown me anything in his UFC fights. I mean, he's got 2 losses where he was winning the fight, but then just started to gas. And then his last fight he looked really good, but the guy he was fighting looked like he was a flyweight. So it's not that hard to beat the hell out of somebody that's like half your size. I think Tanaka's gonna have a big strength and wrestling advantage, and I think Tanaka's gonna win by submission. I think that he's too powerful for Kang. I think he'll just be able to out-wrestle him the whole fight. So yeah, Tanaka by submission. I'm gonna guess second round. Next we got Hyungun Lim versus Takanori Sato. And Sato's UFC debut, he looked like garbage. I mean, he got knocked out in like 30 seconds by the Brazilian guy, I forget his name, but he got knocked out really quick. And then, Lim's looked great in his fights. Even the last fight where he lost, he looked great. He just, he was fighting a guy who was a lot better than him, and he still put up a good fight. I think the only way Sato wins this is if he takes it to the ground. And one of Lim's wins was against a guy named Pascal Kraus, and he's like he was like a German national wrestling champ, and he had really good kickboxing, and Lim was able to knock him out and stuff his takedowns. And it's no offense to Sato, but his striking's not as good as Pascal Kraus's was, and his wrestling isn't as good as Pascal Kraus's. So I think he's gonna get knocked out, just like Pascal Kraus, because he's like half the fighter of that guy, and Lim already beat him. So I got Lim first round knockout. Next we got Katsunori Kikuno versus Sam Sicilia. Sam Sicilia, his problem is he strikes way too wide. He throws way too. It's like Maxwell Blanco. He just puts too much energy into everything he does, and he ends up gassing himself out. I think Kikuno, as long as he, doesn't get caught and he just uses good foot movement, he'll win this fight easy. The only thing that worries me is that this is Kikuno, I think, his first time at featherweight. But I think, he was never really a one-punch knockout guy anyway. He was always a combination fighter. Like counter punch, like Machida, not necessarily combination, but counter, like karate guy. So I think Kikuno's gonna win. Maybe third round submission or a decision. I'm not sure. And if he wins by submission, it'll probably be like a rear naked choke. But I got Kikuno. Next we got Alex Caceres versus Masori Kanakahara. I know Masori is like a kickboxer with good. He's basically the same fighter as Caceres, but I think Caceres has fought better people. So I'm just gonna do this. I think Caceres is gonna win by knockout. I think it's gonna be like the fight Norman Park had with that Japanese guy. I think Caceres is just, he trains with better people and he's fought better people, and he'll probably win by second round TKO. Onto the main card, we got Kyoji Horiguchi versus John Dallas Reyes. Reyes is good, but I don't know if he's UFC caliber, as where Horiguchi is definitely one of the best guys in Japan right now. And Horiguchi is supposed to fight Chris Cariaso until I forget who it was supposed to fight John Dodson got injured, and Cariaso, stepped up to fight Dodson. So, this is, Reyes is taking this fight on short notice, and I don't think he's gonna win. I think Horiguchi is gonna win by knockout. I'm gonna say second round. I think he's just the better striker and the better wrestler, and he'll be able to control this fight. Next, we got Kikuchi Kunimoto versus Richard Walsh. And Walsh was on the Ultimate Fighter, Nations, Canada versus Australia. And Kunimoto is a really good wrestler with good submissions. And I think Kunimoto's just going to be able to do what he did in his last fight. He's going to take Walsh down. He's going to be able to get the back and get the rear naked choke. I'm going to say first round, just like his last fight. I think Kunimoto is definitely going to be able to get the submission win first round. Yeah. Miesha Tate versus Rin Nakai. And Rin, she's got a really good record, but most of the people she's beaten are cans. So I feel that Miesha Tate's beaten much better people. I feel she's fought much better people. And it's just like that fight that I said earlier, like Alex Caceres versus Missouri. I think Miesha Tate, her experience and the fact that she's just fought better people is going to show in this fight, and she's going to win either by decision or submission. Next, we got Akiyama versus Amir Sadallah, and I think Akiyama's going to win this fight by decision. They both haven't fought in 2 years, but Amir's last fight against Dan Hardy, he's getting out wrestled by Dan Hardy. If Amir can get out wrestled by Dan Hardy, then Akiyama can definitely get judo throw after judo throw and just hold him down and beat him up. So I'll pick Akiyama, unanimous decision. Next, co-main event, Miles Jury versus Takanori Gomi. I know who's going to win this fight, but I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick Gomi. Why? Because I want Gomi to win. I don't care if he's going to lose. We all know he's going to lose. It'd be one of the biggest upsets of the year if he could win. But I'm going to pick Gomi. I don't think he's going to win, but I hope he wins. Next, main event, Roy Nelson versus Mark Hunt. I think the longer this fight goes, the better it'll be for Hunt. I think as long as he can get out of the first 2 rounds, he'll probably win either a decision or a late TKO. And I do think that's what's going to happen. I think Mark Hunt will be able to survive those first 2 rounds, and I think he'll be able to drag it into deep water, and he'll, I do think Roy could probably win this if he does really try to wrestle with him, but Roy doesn't wrestle with anybody. I mean, he almost never uses his wrestling. He just wants to box. If he was smart, he would wrestle. And I think he probably will the first 5 seconds. I think he'll try to go for a takedown, and once he doesn't get it, he's not going to try again. So I think this whole fight's going to be a kickboxing match, and I think Mark Hunt's going to either win decision or late TKO. It'd be hilarious if he won by submission. I mean, he almost got that armbar Ben Rothwell. If he could do that to Roy Nelson, I'd laugh forever. But I got Mark Hunt. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.